Hey Sainers, welcome to Saints TV, welcome to the Round 10 live review. Just finishing up at the stadium, finishing up at Marvel, getting to the car and just kind of dissecting what type of game that was and, what the positives were and what the negatives were. Obviously the positives being that we got the 4 points kind of no matter what. That puts us at 5-5, and at that we're just percentage out of the 8, which is great after round 10, halfway through the season, with a pretty winnable game coming up against Port in Shanghai on Sunday. So on that front, that's really positive. Just the win-loss ratio just balances out again. The other positive I think from this is with the week that Carlton have had, with all the negative sort of publicity about them, about how they played against GWS and how they've been most of this season, they were always going to come out. These are the sort of games where when you're a team like us, we're there for the taking, and Carlton would have seen the fixture and be like, perfect, we can back ourselves against a team like St Kilda who are a bit up and down. They beat Bulldogs, they smashed them on the same ground, they've played well against Collingwood, they should have beaten Hawthorn as well. So they had a bit of up and down form like us coming into this game, and they're that sort of team that, on paper they've got a lot of young talent, and if that talent clicks, you're always in a bit of danger there. But I thought, despite the quality of the game not being there for the most part, and I think a lot of that had to do with, we just seemed to get sucked down to their level and just didn't play the way we wanted to play. Apart from, maybe a patch midway through the second to midway through the third where we got that 20-odd point lead and kind of held that. The fact that we didn't kick over 70 points against Carlton is a bit of a worry at home, at Marvel, perfect conditions under the roof. That's the most disappointing thing, is that we didn't get scoreboard return again. And it seems like a common thing with us is that we just struggle to put teams away. We struggle to really capitalise on when we're on top of teams. And I think there was that period where, in the start of the third, we kicked 1 goal 4, and it really could have blown the game open. But we couldn't do that. And against a team like Carlton, you can probably get away with those sort of situations. But against better teams like Collingwood last week, like Adelaide, GWS, the teams, West Coast, the teams that we've lost to recently, they capitalise and they hurt you. So we need to get better at that. We need to kick goals. Parker had a few missed chances, but he kicked some important goals. Kent didn't trouble the scoreboard again. Robbie Young only had 5 disposals. Ben Long missing in action apart from the bump that created a melee. So we can't have the guys like Ben Long, Robbie Young not doing enough. They didn't trouble the scoreboard, either of them really, and they didn't get enough of the ball. So there's 2 spots there that are just, Nick Hind. I was watching Sandy, and he's a class above at Sandy level. Hunter Clark had 29 again. So there's always a big opportunity there for those sort of guys. I think, moving into the Port Adelaide game, we just really have to clean up our disposal. I just want to know, I'd love to ask Richo face to face, in terms of forward entries, is it really trained? Is it our style to bomb it to packs constantly? Or do we actually train to kick to leads, kick into space? Because come game day, we never do that. And I feel like we're probably almost the easiest team to defend against, because they know what we're going to do. We're going to get it. We're going to slow it down. I thought, leading into this week, Richo said we were too conservative at times last week, and that's what cost us against Collingwood. We went into our shells late, and they took advantage of that. I thought we really played slow again today, and we didn't pull the trigger when there were so many opportunities. Bruce made so many clever leads in that forward 50, and we were too slow to identify them and to execute a pass to them. And we'd bomb it over his head to a Kent who's 1-on-3, and those 3 are way taller than him and bigger than him, and they rebound pretty easily. So that was the negative side of the game. Positive was, Jack Steele had 10 tackles, 28 disposals. Gresham had 27 disposals. Really big return from him. I thought he got going in that third term when we got on top, and he created a lot of goal-scoring chains and kicked really well to our leading forwards. Marshall did really well, 34 hitouts for him. I thought Dunstan did some really nice things. I thought Wilkie did well down back. Marsh got better as the game went on. So Brucey kicked a couple of good goals. Membry took some good clunks. Kent around the ground as well. Just he doesn't hurt the scoreboard as much as I would like him to, but he gets 15 possessions a game, and he sets up a lot of scoring chains as well. So pretty happy with him. Nathan Brown did what he had to do. I didn't think Mackay did too much. Kerno kicked a goal, Mackay kicked a goal, but I thought we did well on McGovern. Casbolt had to go back because of our forward line. So it's, there are positives, but there are some negatives, and that's what you get with our team at the moment. I'm going to go through some comments now. Let's see what you guys think. Let's not just think what I think. It's all about what you guys think as well. Minnie says, Marshall, great tonight. Not talked about enough. Young didn't do much. We need to put our games away. Daniel says, I thought Dunstan did well again. Luke Williams says, Young was unsighted today. Even his tackle pressure wasn't there. I definitely agree with you there. Pete says, are you worried about where this team is heading? As much as I'd love to see us make finals, I don't see that happening with Richo and the current list. I think our current list can make finals. I'm worried that the way we're executing on game day will, get us into big trouble against some very good teams if we did make finals. But I think at our best we can do it. The Melbourne game, part of the Collingwood game. We played our best football, both at the MCG, coincidentally. We seem to struggle at Marvel, but I think, we just need to just keep back in the system. I know Brett Ratton is working wonders, and we're just going to keep adapting. And the trip to Shanghai will be interesting, just to see if being away from home just takes that pressure off us, and we can go away and play really well. Chris Milne says, exposed all that is wrong with Richo in first quarter and the fade out of the plays within a game. Should have won by 40. Still have terrible inside 50 disposals. We were lucky Carlton did as well. Emily says, a win is a win, but we definitely need to work on our kicking skills in front of goals like always. Cooper says, Ben Long, terrible, Young, poor, few changes next week for sure. Geary, Hind, Armo, White and Patton in next week. 3 others out, 2 if Geary doesn't play. Average at best, says Alan. Need to kick straight if we're going to compete. Ben Long needs more time in the 2, says Daniel. Andrew says, still can't kick goals under 10 goals again. Minnie says, I reckon next week Clark in, Young out. Considering our injuries and our other players missing, I'm stoked with the win. Goal kicking is the one issue we face, but let's face it, if the game was never going to be pretty and we needed to dig deep and get the 4 points, well done, boys. How did you rate Parker's game? Frustrating, but he kicked a couple of important goals, and I thought his tackle pressure was still there. He does some annoying things where he tries to take on too many plays, or he's too slow with the ball. But I thought he was, enough to stay in the team, which is what you want. We should chuck in Hind next week for Long. Can only beat the bottom 5 or 6, which we are one of. Luke says Kent was very good, and particularly in the last quarter. Michael says the Blues were always going to come out hard. It was good to see we rose to the occasion. Need to work on our goal kicking. It's just goal kicking every fucking week. We got the win, which was great, but didn't look threatening. Pete says we had 50-odd frees for the game. I'm concerned about what would have happened if we didn't get the rub of the green. The rub of the green, it was 20-7 at halftime, I think, our way, which was ridiculous. It ended up being 31-23, so they evened it out. The umpiring is a joke in general. Some of the decisions were just mind-boggling, and they need to just take a backward step. Can we just hire more umpires that are ex-AFL footballers? The only good umpire out there today was Lee Fisher, and it's because he has a grasp on the game, on what the players go through, and the split-second decisions that go into games like this. It's, other umpires don't have that understanding. They haven't played. Some of them can't even fucking kick a football, and they're going to run the game. I love that some of these ex-players know the game, and Lee Fisher's one of the best umpires out there because of that reason, because he's played the game and knows it. My Minnie says our forward efficiency is so bad. Taylor says Dunstan putting together the best block of games of his career, 100%. Testament to him going back to Sandy, fighting hard, working his way back into the team, and he's sticking to it, and he's getting a lot of good footy. Jade Gresham's kicking into goals was at the next level and showed that he can be a damaging player in those tight games. Not a game to brag about, but we got the 4 points. Nice to see a bit of aggression from the boys. Clark got a lot of easy ball and kicked it between 20-30 metres side. It was going to be good, but way too conservative. Stop calling for inclusion. Already enough passengers. Why kick to a mismatch contest again and again, hoping for a different result than the previous 3 attempts? Not sure, but that's what I want to ask Richo. Why we do that? Caroline says, really enjoying your comments. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Caroline. Nice comment. Jason says, still have terrible skills. Must improve. What are your thoughts on Battle's game tonight? I thought Battle was good without being amazing. He did his job, and it's just good to show that he's consistent. I thought he did really well to run off his man. He knew when to go and attack the ball, but he also knew when to stay back, hang back, and then punch from behind. Which is great. He's learning the craft of balancing his defensive side with his attacking skill, because obviously him being a natural forward, he's got that attacking urge and he knows how to balance it, which is great. Gresh reminds me of Shuey when he plays mid. Some of our players need to learn to make split decisions when given the ball, not hang on it and get caught. Tim says, did your girlfriend go with you tonight? No, she was working, unfortunately, so I just went with my uncle and my sister. So family outing again. Dave says, got the win everyone needed so badly. Just keep the faith, go Saints. Greens helped us big time. Fortunately, Carlton failed to execute as well. Onwards to China next week. Lastly, Jason says, Dunstan is hungry and great all-round player. It's a shame he gets knocked on his kicking so badly when he's not the only one. I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for the comments. Keep them coming. Shane says Gresham was very good. I think Sainter of the day would have to be either Gresh or Steele. I'm going to go Steele. Gresh had 27 and was a game changer in patches, but he only laid, I think, 3 or 4 tackles. Jack Steele had 28 and laid 10 tackles, and 10 tackles in a tight game can make all the difference. In tight games, in finals, in tight finals, in grand finals, pressure and tackling gets you the edge, and Jack Steele is that player that did it for me today. So I'm going to give him my little Saints TV player of the day. Sam says, thinking ahead and how long we've been building, we are still years off. I disagree. I don't agree with all these timeline things. Oh, we're 2 years off, we're 3 years off. He's a B grade player, he's a C grade player. You can be as good as your effort is. So if you put in the effort, if you train hard, if the coaches put in the structures, any player in any team can be a good player. And any team can be a good team. So it's always exciting. And we're 5-5, back on the winners list. Let's go to Shanghai next week and give Port a shellacking. We haven't beaten those assholes in ages. I fucking hate Port. So let's go there and get the win. Come back at 6-5 at the bye. Come back. And then we've got Gold Coast and Brisbane. Get Carlisle back. Get Hanbury back. Get Geary back. Get Loney back. Get King back in there. Got some exciting players to come. So hopefully our best form is only to be in the future and in the second half of the season. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you for my preview of the Shanghai game on Thursday night. Go Saints.